أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أيها الأخوة أيها الأخوة أحييكم بتحية الإسلام تحية من عند الله مباركة طيبة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this invitation. Just coming from Rajasthan, and before that we were in Kerala meeting with the brothers, and we have been welcomed in a very nice way. Alhamdulillah, jazakumullah ala kulli khair, and thank you for Brother Tawsif and all the other brothers who were with us, Raihan and let me forget not forget the name. Raihan was with us, Azhar was with us, and now just we met with Musaddaf, who was with us in Jaipur. So thank you for that, and thank you for being with us today. So and I don't want to forget Dr. Ahmed Abdessalam, who from Kerala organized the whole trip, being in touch with everybody. I really want to thank him for organizing this trip. The talk of today is not an easy one. If you speak about Islamic epistemology, knowledge and tradition, even the word epistemology, I don't know how many of you know exactly the meaning of epistemology. So what I'm going to do is to try to address the issue and to discuss in a simple way without being simplistic. So I'm trying to put in simple words deep questions that are essential for Muslims today. Muslims living in India, Muslims living in our contemporary world, and if we are to be faithful to our tradition, faithful to our mission within the tradition, these are essential questions. We have to come back to these essential questions and to try to find the right answer, or at least the right methodology to address the issues at stake and the challenges that we are facing. So let me start with a short introduction, which in fact is helping us to get a sense of our discussion. Because even when we speak about epistemology, we might not have a clear understanding of the definition. But even if we know the definition, it's not clear that we are using it the right way. So in any work, and this is something which is known in the Islamic tradition, come back to all the scholars, all the ulama in our tradition. Not only when they were starting to discuss an issue, they were starting with the definition. By Iman, I mean. By Ijtihad, I mean. By Sharia, I mean. Always defining. This is the methodological way of doing things. You always start with the definitions. If you don't agree on the definitions, you cannot agree on the development. You cannot get a sense of the discussion if you don't know the words and the meanings of the words. This is one. But the problem is that every single meaning is also taking a specific way of being dealt with, depending on the context and the worldview within which you are using it. So it's not only important to get the definition, you need to get the definition within the vision. I repeat, you need to get the definition within the vision. If the vision is missing, the definition could be wrong. And if the definition is right, it's not sure that you have the right vision. So, right definition in a wrong vision is no definition. The right vision without definition is no way. You don't know where you go. So you always have to keep both together. So this is what I will try to do. When we speak about epistemology, it's important for us now because very often the way the Muslims are addressing the challenges of their time are not addressed in the way they have to look at them through their understanding, with their methodology. So I will explain that. What is epistemology? Two things. This is the normative definition. From where you get your knowledge and how do you structure your knowledge. So two things: the source of your knowledge, from where do you get your knowledge, and how do you organize your knowledge? Because knowledge is not only a source, it's also a structure. So epistemology has to do with from where and how. Now, as I was telling you, it's very important to understand here that it's not enough to speak about the source of knowledge. It's not enough to speak about the structure or the methodology within which or through which you use your knowledge. You need to put all this within a worldview. What is your understanding of life and creation? To understand the source and to understand the methodology. If you don't have a worldview, if you don't get a sense of what it is all about, you can have the right source, but not within the right understanding. And if you have the right structure, you might be wrong with the source and wrong with the way you look at the world. Very often today, in sciences and in everything which has to do with universities, very often say, okay, let us talk about the epistemology. But there is always one thing which is missing, is the worldview that precedes. And we don't talk about this. It's as if you speak about the methodology with two things, the source and the methodology. That's it. Don't talk about the worldview. And that's the problem. Because in fact, the dominant culture, by imposing a way you deal with the source and you deal with the methodology and avoiding the discussion about the worldview, is imposing onto you to discuss the epistemology in a way which is cut from the essence within which you have to deal with it. And this is what the Muslims are doing, to the point that the Muslims end up Islamizing within without questioning the Islamic faithfulness outside. So they don't ask about the Islamic understanding of the whole picture, they're asking, is it Islamic within a picture? They didn't decide. They have not challenged, they are not critical. So I told you it's a difficult topic. I hope you are not lost already, because what I'm trying to do now is very simple. I define epistemology with three things: the source of knowledge, the methodology of knowledge within a worldview. Okay? Don't miss one of the three, because this could be problematic in our understanding. And this is from where we get a sense of what is the Islamic epistemology, and we have to come to this. We have to come to this. What is the Islamic worldview? Helping us to understand from where do we get our knowledge and how do we structure our knowledge. So I put it now in Islamic terms. What is the Islamic worldview? Helping us to understand from where you get the knowledge and how do you structure your knowledge. This is the Islamic epistemology. The worldview, the source, and the methodology. Try to keep your phone turned off for the time of the lecture. Nothing is urgent for the time being. And if it's urgent, just respond. This is what Al-Faruqi was trying to do. I think that you heard about the Al-Faruqi, his book about the Tawheed, when he's saying that from an Islamic viewpoint, everything starts with the Tawheed, saying the Tawheed is a worldview, it's the source, and from there you get your methodology. So I don't completely agree with something which came out of this theory, talking about Islamization of knowledge. I don't agree with the term, I don't agree with the methodology, but I agree with the question. And knowledge is important. Knowledge is what you acquire regarding the world. It's knowledge that you get about facts, about understanding the world. Now, there is something which is important. We keep on repeating in Islam. We keep on repeating in Islam that everything in Islam is about knowledge. The starting point of Islam is in Surah 96. The starting point is أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. And we say اقرأ. And you have in the fourth revelation Nun wal qalami wa ma yasrun, which has to do also with the knowledge. Everything has to do with knowledge in Islam. To the point that the knowledge of God, that God is working بين المرء وقلبه. So it's وَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَحُولُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَقَلْبِهِ, meaning that the knowledge of God is between you and your own heart. So you cannot come to God if you don't come to yourself. Having said this, the knowledge that we are talking about with the definition of epistemology means that the knowledge, the question that we have to ask is not only what do you know? It's not only to ask the question you need to know. You know, from an Islamic perspective, when we have the Islamic epistemology, it's not only understanding the source, understanding the structure, and understanding the worldview. As soon as you are putting the worldview, when it comes to knowledge, you have two questions, which are essential in your understanding. It's why do you want to know? And what do you want to achieve with your knowledge? That's an essential question. The anthropologist Foucault was saying, as we know today, it's part of the reality of the world that knowledge is power and language is power. And that's true. Now, if you go to the West, no one in the West, in the Western dominant culture today, and throughout the histories and the civilizations, no one, you heard nobody saying knowledge is bad. We are all celebrating knowledge. The question is not about celebrating knowledge. All our universities, everywhere, we celebrate knowledge. But the main question is not about knowledge. The main question is, why do you want to know and what do you want to achieve? If you want to know to serve humanity, that's fine. But if you want to know to serve interests, to serve transnational corporation, why, for example, 80% of the university system in the United States of America is promoted by transnational corporations? They are putting lots of money. Because they are celebrating knowledge? No, because they are making money. They want money. So the question is, why do you want to know? Do you want to know to become better human beings or to control more people and to control the world? That's why. What do you want to achieve? So knowledge has two questions. Why and what do you want to achieve? Why? Yes. What is your purpose on knowledge? In Islam, the Islamic epistemology as a source is telling you the first knowledge is the knowledge of God in order to achieve what is good and resist what is bad. So knowledge has to do with ethics. Knowledge has to do with al-akhlaq, with al-suluk. I try to know more to be better, not to control better, not to have more, not to make money out of it or to exploit people. This is not the way. So celebrating knowledge is universal. Questioning the nature of knowledge is something which is very specific that we have to come with as Muslims today. We want to know why and to do what with this knowledge. That's part of our epistemology today, because what we see, again, many Muslim university or Islamic university or many universities in the third world go in African countries, go in Asian countries. What do? They are like the West, celebrating knowledge. Are they proposing a new way of dealing with knowledge to achieve something else? No. The great majority are entering into a competition with the dominant way of dealing with knowledge. Our universities are very often trying to catch up with the dominant system, not promoting an alternative way of dealing with knowledge, but trying to, at the same level, to do the same thing. Now, you know what you are going to do? You Islamize the envelope and you keep the capitalist way of dealing with it. That's the way it is if you don't start with the big question. What do you want to do and what do you want to achieve? This is the second point of our discussion on knowledge and tradition that is important.